So I'll begin tonight with a land acknowledgement. So I want to acknowledge that I personally am coming to you from Turtle Island, more specifically the unceded lands, ancestral lands of the Musqueam, Tsleil-Waututh, and Squamish peoples. Our first judge tonight is, I'm looking through my gallery of pictures. I'm going to introduce James first. James, can you wave? Can you unmute and say, "Whoo, hello"?
Hello, everyone. It was
Yay.
absolutely delightful to read your work.
Wonderful. So James is professor of literature at Farley Dickinson University and the director of FDU Press, which is located in downtown Vancouver in Yaletown. His creative work has appeared in a number of journals. His book, A Modernist Fantasy, won the 2020 Mythopoeic Award, and he has edited several critical editions of Lawrence Durrell, Ernest Hemingway, and the 19th century poet and travel writer Edward Taylor Fletcher. He has been equally active in music performance and opera and chamber music. And at the break, he is going to sing for us. Next is Kevin Spence. Kevin, can you unmute for a second? Say hello.
Hi.
Yay. Kevin is the author of Ignite, Jabbering with Bing Bong, which is, I think, one of my favorite titles ever for a book of poetry, and Hearts Amok, a memoir in verse, all with Anvil Press, and over a dozen chapbooks, including Surrey Sonnets from Jack Pine Press, Upend, Frog Hollow Press, and Holm with the Alfred Gustav Press coming out at the end of 2022. He writes a chapbook column in Subterranean Magazine and is an occasional co-host with R.C. Weslowski on Wax Poetic on Co-op Radio, which is a very cool program. And if you haven't ever tuned in, you should. It's really interesting. Different poet. It's like every week, I think. He writes, teaches, and lives in Vancouver on unceded Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh territory. And last but not least, we have our, very excited to have our brand new Vancouver 6th Poet Laureate, Fiona Tinway Lamb. Fiona, hello. Fiona has published 3 collections of poetry and a children's book. Her poems have been featured in Best Canadian Poetry, in the League of Canadian Poets Poem in Your Pocket program, and thrice with BC's Poetry in Transit, as well as in award-winning poetry videos made in collaboration with filmmakers that have screened worldwide. She edited The Bright Well, Contemporary Canadian Poems About Facing Cancer, and co-edited 2 nonfiction anthologies. Shortlisted for the City of Vancouver Book Prize and other awards, her work has been included in over 40 anthologies. And I was very lucky to get to see your poem about plastic, which just was at the Delta Literary Festival. I was just there last week, and it's a very, very exciting poem with the image of the letters floating around in the sort of Great Gyre. Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Oh, I'm glad you saw it.
Yeah. Yvonne, and I know, Yvonne, we are very, very grateful that you are going to be our first reader. I know it's not the easiest thing to do is to be the first reader. So I will pass it over to you.
Okay, so hi. I was born in Britain, but I spent a lot of time in 4 provinces in Canada, and I hope this will illustrate my experience in one of them. It's called A Rock and a Hard Place. We shiver in Conception Bay, 'neath this mountain called Topsail, where icebergs lie and capelin die to spawn on a summer's day, on this rock called Newfoundland. When cold winds whip the buildings with merciless barbed wire, folk and fishermen within carouse around a fire to warm this rock called Newfoundland. Houses cling like limpets to slopes of the tall cold cliffs, while salty seas moan, rusted cables groan, and spirits strain to lift off this rock called Newfoundland. Stout stoics ride 50-foot waves to wipe out the endless cod, to save the lives of fishermen sacrificed to a Newfoundland god on this rock called Newfoundland. New Year's Eve, shotguns appear. Paddy shoots through the wire. Then candles and fiddles join the beer when all the lights expire on this rock called Newfoundland, with jigs and reels best known to those brave souls who drowned. men's spirits soar and yell for more on this rock called Newfoundland, on this rock called Newfoundland.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Pauline. Okay, Pauline, over to you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Pauline LaBelle. This is a poem I wrote about Thich Nhat Hanh shortly after he died last January at the age of 95. Thich Nhat Hanh was a beloved Vietnamese Buddhist monk, a spiritual leader who taught the world the power of mindfulness, nonviolence, and compassionate action through his many books and the way he lived his life. His words and his practice of engaged Buddhism have had a profound influence on me. Thich Nhat Hanh, 1926 to 2022. A cloud never dies, you told us, to comfort those who fear the end, who forget the bargain we enter into at birth. A cloud never dies. It transforms into rain, ice, snow, tears, the water in your cup of tea. O peaceful warrior who taught us the difference between suicide and self-immolation, the monks on fire, the only way their voices would be heard in a deafened world. O gracious teacher who prepared us for the storm of our emotions, who showed us how to watch the trembling of our minds, bring the breath to our bellies, say hello to our anger, say, I will look after you like a loving mother. O gardener of the heart, without mud, no lotus flowers, you said. Make good use of your suffering. Let it be the compost for your joy. O smiling lover of life who never married, who taught us how to speak to our loved ones. Darling, I am here for you. Shall we breathe together? A cloud never dies, you said, and now you have arrived. Like the cloud, your words will not die. Like the cloud, you will continue to water our spirits. I look up and see you passing by, smiling. Darling, shall we breathe together?
So our next contestant is, let's see, our next contestant is Miles. Miles Blank. I'm just looking for him, my many squares here. Miles, there we go. Okay, perfect. Now I will spotlight you. All right, so anytime you feel ready to go.
Okay. When I signed up for this, I didn't realize I'd be in Nova Scotia. So it's 11:30 something, 11:47 here, but I really wanted to do it. So I have a short one, and this poem is from a kind of uncollected group of poems relating to inspiration or lack thereof. It's called Birth of Abe Lincoln. All day I sort paper clips, parenthesize, sanitize silences, throw out the first ball in unofficial brain games. So when the clock strikes later, when the word Saturday creeps into the tiny box on my watch, why do I have to wait for the arrival of my own ideas, my own pain? Arrive now in my kitchen, fully formed like a baby giraffe, like the birth of Abe Lincoln, like a horny visitor, not like clipped whispers in my head. I don't want to work for this. Your green chimneys open sideways. My hallways beg for doors.
Thank you so much. And I'm so glad you're joining us from so very far away. That's wonderful. That's the one nice thing about going virtual for sure, is people can join us from all across the country. That's marvelous. That was Miles. So we are moving on to Lucy. Lucy Yang. I'm just waving, yay. Okay, so I will spotlight you and you should feel free to go anytime you feel like it.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lucy. Really happy and grateful to be here today. The piece I'm reading tonight is called Nanay, which is what I call my grandmother on my father's side. So a little bit about this. Obviously, because of the pandemic, it's been a really long time since I've seen her in person because of travel restrictions, and I miss her very much. And this piece is for her. Nanay. Drooping belly, afternoon sun. Damp tunic, hand sewn. Wispy scalp, a shelf of birds. Knob knuckles pressed in my palm. Tomato and egg, stir-fry stew. Spittle and tears in lines on skin. Toothless grin, early goodbyes. Bags filled, shoes tied. Sliver between door and frame. She waits. I wave. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lucy. That was
I'm the
lovely.
official clapper. I'm adding the audio.
Yeah,
effect.
thank you, Evelyn.
Hi.
Okay, so you have 3 minutes, so I will let you go.
Okay, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, okay. So the title of my poem is Dear Reader. I wrote this poem last year and it was published in September last year. Dear Reader, thank you for reading this poem. Thousands of miles lie between us. I cannot meet you in person or invite you to visit my garden. I ask summer breeze to travel and forward my regards to you with the fragrance of my lilacs. In the first ray of sunshine, my peach blossoms drift in a stream, flow thousands of miles, melt into water, and send you sweet rain. When night falls, my water lilies sleep on reflection of the moon. Please open your window, gaze at the same moon, and feel their dreams. 2 lines from here, you will notice a period, wishing you the start of infinity. Thank you.
Natasha. I think I saw Natasha come in. And I'm just looking for Natasha. Yay. Oh, no, that's Fiona waving. Where's Natasha? Fiona, stop that. Natasha. Natasha, could you maybe, there you are. Wonderful. Okay. So I will spotlight you and you have 3 minutes.
Great. Good evening, everyone. So wonderful to hear your poems. I can't wait to hear the rest of the list. My name is Natasha Overdoon. I'm based in Snuneymuxw territory, and I'm a student of poetry right now in the Writers Studio program at SFU. So really looking forward to sharing a poem that I've written during my time in that program. And I wrote this poem. It's called Nanaimo Harbor in November. In one of the intermissions during the parade of storms that we saw in November here in British Columbia in the Atmospheric River event, which was a good example of the climate crisis in action. So that's some context for the poem. Nanaimo Harbor in November. A month of rain falls in the span of days, and the city is sick with beaver fever, untreated. Sewage spews into the harbor. Pipes explode, peanut butter, pea soup, beet juice, corn. I don't think much of it. Walking my retriever along the waterfront, head tucked against the drizzle, I remember the otter I saw here last week. She waddled down the marina, clambered onto a docked boat, casually rummaged the contents of a fishy orange bucket, then slid over the stern with a splash. Now the masts and rigging clatter. A pair of speedwalkers wade through the fog, prowl the pier like a catwalk, gray bobs bouncing, rain garb flapping. Without breaking stride, they smile at my retriever. Hope you don't plan on a swim. Back home, flushing the toilet, I see the otter again. She wipes her oily whiskers. I think of clams, snails, oysters, fleshy bottom feeders. Staring into the bowl, I flush and I flush and I flush and I flush. Bowl scrubbed white, empty. Forgive me.
Thank you, Natasha. Okay, I will spotlight you. So you have 3 minutes. Anytime you feel ready.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Abiola Regan. I recently ended a 3-season run on a parenting podcast. And the reason why that's relevant is because we would end every episode with a poem that I wrote based on the topic that we discussed. So tonight, I'm going to read you one of those poems from our episode on aging and mortality. Right here, right now. How do I explain why I'm so upset? That when you don't listen, it sets my whole body on edge. Makes me feel like I'm not doing enough, or maybe not giving enough. I want you to be okay when I'm gone. I want you to have everything that I can give you, and then even more. I don't know what will happen to us or what won't. I do know that I have right here, right now. How do I explain the concept of time? That it is both finite and limitless. It will continue on, but I won't. I want to stay with you forever, but that's not how this all works. So I need to teach you everything I know, everything I knew, and everything in between, cramming as much as we can into each moment. I don't know why life is or why it has to end. I do know that I have right here, right now. How do I explain that I'm aging every day? But so are you, and so is everyone.
Is she still there?
I think her screen has frozen, so we might have lost the connection.
Don't get to anymore. How do I explain the randomness of it all? That on any given day, at any given time, any given thing could happen. It's too much to take in, too big of a burden. So I try to keep maturing right along with you, striving to remain focused on the joys of watching you play and seeing you grow, mentally, physically, emotionally. I don't know how long I have or how old I'll be. I do know that I have right here, right now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Abiola. And now we have Kate Marshall Flaherty. And there we go.
Here I
There
am.
she is.
Here I am.
And I will spotlight you at 3 minutes, anytime.
Thank you. What a treat to be here. And I'm glad it's virtual because I'm at the other end of the country at 11 p.m. So I'm really grateful to hear all these poems and to gather. It actually snowed here the other day, so it's warming my heart to be a part of this poetry night. Here in the city, I spend a lot of time in the ravine, and I see more and more animals in the ravine that I might not expect to. Skunks, porcupines, foxes, coyotes, a deer once too. So this is called Annie Moose. That fox, her streak of amber fur and black tip tail slipped by. Her shyness and pricked ears, soft and tense at once. Let her cross your path on the slanted cobblestones heading for the ravine, an omen circling back. Somehow her tawniness warms up cycles of grief. Her fur tuft reminding you of that coyote who killed your cat. Let yourself exhale. Release the stink of spring rot. Breathe in weak February sun. Recalling your cat who left such wispy signs of struggle. Blood, hair, skin in smears on the grass, a patch of hide and string. Her remains folded into the ground, a wooden rosary the kids placed in her grave. Sniff out kinship with this, the other creature. Remember, a fox can smell a mouse under snow. Loving fox is easy, but forgiveness is hard for the wounded. You have so much coyote within. You know you do.
Hey, okay, perfect. See, it worked. Okay, I'm going to spotlight you, Claire, and anytime you would like, you have 3 minutes.
Hi, everyone. I'm Claire Davis. I'm in Vancouver on Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh territory, unceded, of course. I also have something kind of a little bit like Miles on inspiration and finding a muse in odd places. This is called Silverfish I Have Known, recently reworked. Seem correlative elements between finding a muse and silverfish. Both can be found in overstuffed rental apartments of artists. Look for disarray. A good muse is almost always found in disarray, like a kitchen god smeared with grease splatter overlooking a cluttered sink. It goes perhaps without saying, a muse must be imperfect, must remain wrinkled after hanging, corners untucked, a too small bank account, delayed politics, wayward hair. It has been deemed that beautiful people receive less eye contact, their symmetry read too fast, signifying butterfly, beauty without endurance. They keep boxes of useless things on high shelves, spine-worn novels, a life's doodles on napkins, a body's weight in commemorative lighters, garbled mixtapes with handwritten liners. It is important, however, that they are confused by what they keep, sort through them in both charm and disgust to select a pittance of release. A metabolus is, after all, one stays short and discards itself perpetually to remain mostly unchanged. Silverfish have a curious mating ritual, one worth mentioning as a token of entomological interest, though of no real purpose here, save to say, a muse must run, must not be too close, must leave between connection and action, admit the necessity of disappearance, though they remain hopeful in their plight. I find hope makes me mad with art, like humid baseboard cracks and cereal spilt between cabinet and stove, like a bathtub, cold and clinical in the morning. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Claire. Who is Amado? I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly.
Yeah, that's
Cool.
correct, Amado.
Amado. Okay, I will spotlight you and you have 3 minutes.
Okay, well, hi, my name is Amado, and I'm an immigrant looking for a sponsor or a job. I wrote this poem 10 years ago thinking about immigration on several fronts, not just in a political sense, but also how ideas migrate through words, emotions migrate through time, and also how landscapes migrate within themselves. So many of those experiences are present in this translation of one of my poems from Spanish to English that now is a new text. Thank you for listening. It has no name. Yesterday, I remember reading an image, but I forgot whose. I have two legs on my face. Sometimes one feeds the other. A bird's shadow goes by. I noticed it was a newspaper stuck in the air. Thousands of deaths, it read. Deaths on the border, it said. Night came and the streets were empty. Against gravity, I took them into the city, which is to say I took them into the center of the night. But there was no city, no night. only open spaces and some buildings that grew, gain height with each other's contrast. A flood connects them with their shadows, eyes lit. I remember in the photo a human shape, maybe a kid to be dramatic, a human shape diluting its ink on the stream by the sidewalk. A mirage between spaces, buildings. There's a mirage of blackbirds or black roses dew. It may not be a mirage, but a reflection of two lakes beneath a sky's clearing. Or maybe a mirage is a lost gallop, that is to say, a gallop without its equine. I read the future is the stable form where fear departs. That is why I sit on the sidewalk and observe two ocean liners in a puddle, like drowned suns. I sit and wait for a fall, gasping for air, for I thought it would reach me earlier. In summary, a tale. But what I remember the most is that image, the trajectory that information leaves behind opened and closes in the exact same instant the object moves. A green dust, mold in our genitals, a humid echo left in our fountains, a word forgotten in our diastemas, a dust that remembers its wood or limb, mouths like springs cleaning our anus, a mirage, of course, pristine. Let's put it this way. There were feasts while we slit the sky's throat and we bathed in the shadow of its blood. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amado. We have Jessica. And I saw Jessica here, so I'm just going to go back. There we go. Okay. Hello. All right, I will spotlight you. So you have 3 minutes, Jessica.
Hi, everyone. It's really nice to see everyone. I actually signed up for this because I was hoping to see you all in person and shake your hand, but this is still very lovely. So, and I'm looking forward to hearing everyone else read as well. I've loved the poem so far. This poem is an ode to those old-fashioned Christmas lights on the house, the different colors, particularly the Noma brand. Noma Winters. Dad strung up Noma bulbs on our wood-clad house with blinds winking down, the aluminum rungs cut fog of 1987, frosting the rock wall from where I devoted my eyes to the right of an interior man performing exterior illumination that made interim assurances about life. A damp wonder how the light of partaking in colors for the street made the world feel right, at least for a few weeks, with polychromatic paint on almonds cracked with veins, where the glass steamed rain with retinal glow of hope for yearly storage. Per strata rules this year, I fastened migraine green LEDs with wire on our urban patio's dusty alloy railing above his memorial tree, looking into our wide-faced windows. No observers to regret the bulbs are monochrome and don't peel. Only incandescents plugged in to Noma Winters of Canadian Tire trips for boxes of silver strands at 39 cents and candy lacquered lamps with hot filament certitude, that anticipation tinseling. Thank you.
So I will move along. So I now have, let's see, I have Charlene. I'm looking for Charlene. Yay, wonderful. Okay, so Charlene, you have 3 minutes.
Great, thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Charlene Kwiatkowski, and it's been great to be part of this evening. I'm going to dive right into my poem. It's called Sunflowers in the Van Gogh Museum. Stroke upon stroke, layer upon layer, he builds a mountain of yellow. Table, vase, sunflowers, wall, as if he didn't know, didn't need any other color. Reminds me of two lovers who stay together, traveling to old age, their level of detail godlike. The way Venetian blinds stitch light across her face, the way his arm dangles off the bed like a fishhook. Love deepens, not dulls. A friend once compared it to wine, a simile lost on me since I can't stand the bitter descent. All comparisons fall short. Still we try. My lover tells me stop reading museum words. There are flowers in a vase, yellowing.
Thank you, Charlene. Let's see. I am moving along to Christine.
Christina.
Christina, my apologies. Christina,
okay.
here we go. And you have 3 minutes.
Okay. This one I wrote about a beloved manager who got fired. So this is about what the corporate world does to people. And it was shortlisted for this year's Ralph Gustafson Award, put out by the Fiddlehead. It's called They Canned a Good Man Today for Super J. First thing Monday, a hydrogen zeppelin of political dog shit. Your office stripped of its Habs memorabilia. We can't find you. Some Mackey's jackass flies in to finger gun us while we burn. They canned a good man today. Left your bereft flock in the pleather desert, marooned in the boardroom of the Sweat Hog branch during a plague, a heat wave, and a price war. It was a corporate apocalypse with ashen spectators. Your splintered proteges suddenly rudderless. We sit, fishes eviscerated, fidgeting over your dead body. And this stable genius asks us how we feel about this. We are treated to his greasy megalomania over Industrial Park Szechuan takeout on a vacant shop floor, frothy jocularity, boorish erasure, fake laughs and nominal note-taking in this Kool-Aid cavitation. Let's circle back to lunacy. Hell, let's spiral down. Delusions of dystopian datafication, how he cleverly hid assets from his ex-wife, his backcountry daring do, portaging a canoe solo somewhere along the Black Flies, his MBA. We thank him for his service and wish him luck with his future endeavors. All I know is shit runs downhill and payday's Friday. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Christina. So the next person on my list is Sheila Nefertiti Morrison, and I am looking for her to read.
Right.
Wonderful.
You just tell me when.
Anytime you are ready.
Okay. And thanks for the empathy there. You know. So. Gosh. Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Sheila Nefertiti Morrison. This is for Val Parks. Many of you, some of you knew Val Parks. She was a beloved member of our poetry community. She just passed away. And before she did, she knew about this, and she said she didn't want me to read the poem I wrote about her. She wanted me to read this. Elegy for a Secret Commuter. Still, warm, I held her in my hands. The fleas fled her base brown, white-breasted body. I flicked them and wished her this unfamiliar relation, hated by human hordes, a best feast for the journey beyond the picnics in the park. I twirled her fur, hurriedly lush, a goddess's shush, and saw her nipples dormant, assuaged myself, no babies needed. Placed her in a bush, sat on a rock there until near dark. Why? I got a flashlight from my decrepit slaughterous car and held it, while with the other hand, lightly I touched her face, cold. The last streak of day fell to their knees. In honor of Val Parks.
Thank you so much, Nefertiti. Just muted myself. 4 more readers. So we have Graham McArva. Where is Graham? Wonderful. There you are. So I will spotlight you. Graham, you have 3 minutes.
Now, I did send in a photo of the poem to the social media website, if that helps. I don't know. Anyway.
Okay, thank you.
So I'm Graham McArva. I'm from Vancouver, which is Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh territory. And as an architect and urban planner, I've been long active in affordability, sustainability, but I'm increasingly concerned about the impact of mega tall towers on our capacity for love. So to spotlight this, I wrote the following poem, which is entitled Tall Op-Ed Column. The purpose of building form is for sunlight to reach within the walls deep in one's heart, protecting the embrace of winter with flashes of light, and the caress of summer with weaving shade. Some have little choice but to seek this repose outside. Many find themselves shut in, dependent on the passage of daylight through the windowed sky. Opposing them are those who care nothing for the quality of a shared life, but yearn for skyscraper contests to fill the sky and pave our streets and meeting places with reflection from a global pinnacle whose aim is to get away from everyone. I have enjoyed a life that allowed me build 40 stories high in the suburbs in effort to create place worthy of affection. Each is an extreme intervention, like opening a forest clearing by felling a mature tree. But once darkened by a conspiring cluster of rusting spires covering the common ground, there is no going back, no undo. That vain reach is nihilistic annihilation of the light of the world, taken from those who care by bullies in the playground, who would condemn us to play with vacuous pixels in endless fantasy of escape from darkened rooms. Each tower needs be this extreme search for perfect placement of the cafe canopy, nestled in the leafy sunlight. This gives us congregation whose purpose and playful pause in the delight of day keep us from drowning under torrents of towering disaffection. So thank you. Thank you for letting me in. Cheers.
And I'm going to go on to our next reader, and our next reader is Helen. I'm just looking to see where Helen is. Wonderful, Helen. So I will spotlight you, and you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Good evening, and I just feel like I'm at a banquet of poetry, and thanks for this opportunity to listen and share. I was working on a series of poems that kind of had to do with love, and so this is one that I will read. And it's called Laundry Room Love, and it's dedicated to 2 people that live in my building. So here goes. Laundry Room Love for Ida and Jacob. In the aisle between washers and dryers, arms outstretched, sheet corners in palms, they glide toward each other on polished floors, touch hands, and step back. A gavotte of sorts, folding sheets. Dressed for the occasion, Balanchine minimalism, a court dance dress of today's time. Pressed cotton pants, white blouse, white shirt, white hair, meet again and again until a flat bundle forms. Silent, serious attention practiced over a lifetime. I stand silently, watch in awe, as back and forth, forth and back, they step in unison. Love manifest in a homemade hora. Thank you.
Helen.
Thanks.
One of our regular readers here at Poets Corner, and you have 3 minutes.
Okay. I'm going to read a very short poem since I'm coming right at the end and I wasn't prepared for this, but I think this is a good occasion to launch this poem. It's not been read before, so this is the first public hearing. It's called Selfie with Beached Whale from the eponymous book of my encounters with nature. And this poem was written in response to our sort of knee-jerk reaction to take a selfie with anything that engages us. And the selfie allows us to distance ourselves at the same time. So the poem is called Selfie with Beached Whale. Sorry, this is the closest I can get. definitely the closest the whale ever got to the shore. It is not the wind. A seagull is gorging on a varnish patch of limpets. The tide is on a tear. The tide is on a tear and someone is wailing. It is not the wind. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Last reader, and that will be Peter. If Peter is ready to go.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Perfect. Anytime you're ready, you can go. 3
Boy,
minutes.
my image is not too good, but
That's all
anyway,
right.
this book was published in 2019, A Worker's Friend. But this is not in the book. It's called Hot Topic. Climate change is a hot topic, gasping on gases that make the planet all tropic. It leaves us cold without comfort, melts the heart of the Arctic, opening the floodgates, breaching the extremities, like clones of cycles that twist and turn and churn the seas. It precipitates storming citadels of power lines, while arid airs parch humus, turf, and terrain to terrorize lives, rendering livelihoods, working the lands landless. A torch is raised to forest and field, flora and fauna, firing on many fronts, no longer on the back burner. Fire flies like lightning uplifting, which can no longer take the heat. Thank you.